This is Big Podcast.
Let's build a big podcast. The marketing podcast for podcasters. David Hooper with you. Bigpodcast.com is the site. The new book, 101 Podcast Episode Templates, coming out in less than a month. Still available on pre-order, just 99 cents at Amazon.com. You can see the links in the episode notes, podcast.bigpodcast.com, or go to Amazon. 101 Podcast Episode Templates, just 99 cents. Update on the last episode. I have not heard from Daniel about doing an interview, so I'm moving forward. Going back to the regularly scheduled program. This thing's going to work out however it works out. I hope that we all learn from this. That's what this episode is about. This is the audio edition of my weekly newsletter called Big Podcast Insider. You can see that at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. That is where all the links are. Let's jump in. Social media, the double-edged sword for podcasters. Social media is a very powerful tool because it allows everybody to be heard. Sort of. You know this. Some people are being watched more than others, and there are also algorithms that basically only show us the content that we're likely to click on or interact with. That is why, if you're right-leaning in your political philosophy, you're going to see right-leaning content. Left-leaning, you're going to see left-leaning content. If you're a guy like me, you're 50-something, hair loss treatment, Viagra, they know what it is that they think you're going to click on. So they're going to serve it up to you. There's also a lot of noise to compete with. I just mentioned this in podcasting this week. You saw the shakeup regarding the Podcast Academy. That's a good example of not just the power of social media, but the power of words as well. In this episode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive into how to use social media effectively, how to use it to connect with listeners, how to use it to spread your message. I've also got an opportunity for you with AIR, another organization that you might be interested in. AIR stands for Association of Independents in Radio. I don't know any podcasters that are members of AIR, but I know a ton of my NPR friends are members. It's a great organization. Let's jump in there. This is the AIR New Voices program, and you need to apply now if you're interested in this. Each year, AIR identifies and cultivates a diverse roster of early career talent to arm them with the skills to better understand their role as mission-driven storytellers and emerge with a clearer picture of how they can catalyze change within the industry. You get a $1,000 stipend. You get mentorship, professional development support, structured networking sessions with leaders in the industry. More importantly, the New Voices program allows you to join an incredible network of other alumni who have been through the program, who represent all levels and careers in the audio industry. If you want mentorship, collaboration, and inspiration, this is a great opportunity for you. I've got it linked at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. Jumping back into social media, let's talk about the social media platforms that actually earn creators money. What I do with social media, in addition to spreading a message, but as far as monetizing it, is I'm trying to get people over to bigpodcast.com. I'm trying to get them to know who I am. You're going to buy my books after reading my social media, hopefully. You're going to hire me after reading social media, hopefully. But there's also direct money that can be made. And there's big money that can be made if you have a lot of followers. There are really two ways to approach this. There is the niche followers that you're going for, just people in your industry, 5 Mile famous, we can call that. And if you're going for a lot of people, maybe a more general audience, that's going to be done in volume. You do not need to be everywhere when it comes to marketing your podcast on social media. However, if your podcasts are on a certain platform, it is a good idea for you to be on that platform. That makes it seem like you're everywhere. When I was in the music industry, we used to have this joke. Way back in the day, I was doing street promotion. This is how I got started. Street promotion is going out on the street, you're handing out CDs, cassettes, you're doing flyering. It's literally man on the street work to build hype around a band, get somebody to the shows, to get somebody to buy records, talk about music. We had a joke if we were trying to get a band booked or make it seem like a band was doing really well. Booking agents, club owners, the only place we needed to have those flyers was in between the club and the club owner's car. So when that guy left for the night, he's going to see flyer, flyer, flyer. Gets to his car. He says, man, that band is everywhere. I better book them. Same kind of thing with your podcast and with your listeners. So the answer to whether you need to be on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, that depends. Is Facebook just for old people or conservative people? Maybe. I've got an article linked. It's great info from people using these platforms and sharing real numbers about the money that they're making off of them. So if you're wondering which social media platforms earn creators the most money, this is your answer. It is linked at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. As far as conversation with listeners go, as far as research and knowing what listeners want, Reddit cannot be beat. A lot of people don't know about Reddit. It's been around for a while. It's not flashy, kind of has an old school Craigslist interface. But when it comes to interacting with people and interacting with very specific people, it goes deep. Reddit's a social media platform, not like Twitter, not like Instagram. Again, more of a discussion. It allows people to create and manage their own communities. Reddit calls them subreddits, and many of the most popular podcasts have their own subreddits, their own communities on this forum. It is the best way to get connected to an audience. This is why. It is nice to have a place for people who love your podcast to connect with each other. We listen to podcasts alone, but we want to talk about it with somebody. Maybe that person is your wife. Maybe your wife is sick of you talking about that podcast. Your husband, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever your thing is. You got your friends around you. They're not into what you're into. And they're saying, shut up. Where are you going to go? Reddit. Reddit has the other people who are just as enthusiastic about what it is that you are into. And it's not just podcasting. It could be a hobby. Maybe like old-timey bikes, the kind with the big wheel in the front, little wheel in the back. Yeah, they got a Reddit for that. They got a Reddit for everything. If you want to learn about your niche, if you want to get connected with other listeners who love a certain podcast, if you want to get connected with listeners from your own podcast, Reddit is for you. I've got more information about that at newsletter.bigpodcast.com, a beginner's guide to Reddit. It tells you how to jump in and have success with this platform. And let me give you a bonus, by the way. If you're looking for a mic, any kind of piece of gear, anything, if you're looking for good reviews, you search for a review. Say I want an RE20 microphone reviews. I'm probably going to find some biased reviews. I'm going to find something that's an affiliate link, or I'm going to find somebody who's selling advertisement on a review page. So I search RE20 reviews. Who knows if that information that I'm getting is accurate or not? Do this. Search whatever you're looking for, reviews, and then Reddit, REDDIT in Google. So RE20 reviews, Reddit. Discussions around that microphone would come up. You're going to see why people are getting this mic, why people do like it, why people don't like it. Will it work for you? I don't know. Ask a question. It is a great tool to use for research, and that's why I'm bringing it up here. Whether you want more information on the topic that you podcast about, you need ideas for your episodes, or you're searching gear, you need to know if a piece of equipment is going to work for you. Do you even need it? Reddit is a great resource. Newsletter.bigpodcast.com. I've got everything linked there. This newsletter that I've got, you can read it on the web. I mentioned it, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. Everything is on the web. Got 70-something issues. You can go to back issues. It's all there. This newsletter, though, every Friday morning, New York time, it goes out via email. A lot of people write off email. I was one of those people. But let me tell you one reason why you might not want to. A majority, this is 66.9% of Gen Zers, receive fewer than 20 emails a day. If you've got a podcast that's made for Gen Z, this is a good opportunity for you because there is a lot less competition in email than other types of online communication. When I started this episode, I was talking about social media. We've got algorithms that we're competing with. We've got noise. We've also got the timeliness of the messages that we post. If you put something on Twitter, the half-life of that thing is maybe 5 minutes. If you posted a tweet yesterday, it might as well not exist today. But email, I was on vacation last week. You sent me something while I was on vacation, I can get to it this week. Email is like podcasting. We can time shift things. And that's one of the things that makes it super powerful. But a lot of people wrote email off when social media came around. I was one of those people. I had a list of 80,000 people, not in podcasting, but in my previous life of music industry. 80,000 people. I said, man, everybody's going to social media. We don't need to worry about this because you do have to keep it up. It's not like 80,000 people will be there a year from now. People are changing addresses. You got to bring new people in. Old people fade out. But at the time, it was about 80,000 people. And I was like, I don't care about doing that. Because at the time, it was a few years ago, it cost a lot of money to send email. These days, not as much. I said, social media, that's where it's at, man. Everybody's interactive. I can build a better audience with that. Well, I was wrong about that. Email, even today, 2022, it is still one of the most effective ways to reach people online, even Gen Z. I'm encouraging you, if you're not doing this already, to have email as part of your podcast marketing strategy. If nothing else, you can get a free account on ConvertKit, on MailChimp, 1,000, 2,000 people. That's what these free accounts do. It's not easy to get 1,000 or 2,000 people on your list. Start out there. If you need to start paying for it, you can add that later. You got 1,000 people, you can make some money. You can get some listeners. You can make this thing pay for itself. The strategies, they are linked at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. Speaking of email, when you get this newsletter from me, it says David at Big Podcast. That's who it's from. Your email name matters. If you're getting into email or if you're already into email, I want you to think about this. If you go with email, you need to have a great email name. I've linked to an article that shows the psychology of why people open certain emails. This also works for a podcast. Think about the way that you get your podcast. Most people using a podcatcher, Apple Podcast, I use something called RSS Radio, Overcast, even Spotify. Which of those podcasts that come through the feed are you going to click on? Helps if you got a good podcast name. This is all going to apply to your podcast. It especially applies to email. What I want you to do, though, is think about the concept of it, because the concept doesn't just stop working there. It's going to work with anything you do related to your marketing. So consider it. It's linked, newsletter.bigpodcast.com. That is it. Again, I want to mention the new book. It's available on pre-order right now. 101 podcast episode templates, just 99 cents on Amazon. You can search for it. It is linked at newsletter.bigpodcast.com. This is basically my job here. My job is to help people like you, somebody with a podcast, get more interaction, get more listeners, get more interest in that podcast. One of the best things that you can do is have specific types of episodes that your audience is going to be interested in. That's what gets them to listen. That's what gets them to subscribe. That's what gets them to become fans. I've been working on this for years. Not the book specifically, but this concept. I've been podcasting since 2005. This is some good information. It's less than $1 right now. Pre-order it, newsletter.bigpodcast.com for the link, or just go to Amazon, search 101 podcast episode templates. It's under my name, David Hooper. Easy to find. It looks like the last book, except instead of black and white, it is, kind of black and green. You'll know it when you see it. 101 podcast episode templates available on Amazon right now for pre-order. Once it comes out, it's coming out June 7th, price goes up. So get it now. And let me give you a little bonus for hanging out till the end with me. I'm going to give you that first podcasting book. It's called Big Podcast. I'm going to give it to you free. You don't need to do anything. There's no catch. If you like it, all I ask is that you leave a review on Amazon. If you want the audiobook, I can send you that. Leave a review on Audible. Reach out to me, bigpodcast.com/contact. Fill out the form. Say, hey, David, heard the podcast episode. I like audiobooks. I want the Kindle version. Let me know what you want. Get both of them. I don't care. Let me know which one you want. If you like it, please leave a review. That helps me out. This can help me launch this new book. But other than that, no catch. Is that a catch? I don't know. You tell me. If you want to subscribe to this podcast, that is at bigpodcast.com/subscribe. You can call it follow. I call it subscribe. Spotify and Apple are calling it follow now. I still call it subscribe because that's what you're doing. Every episode you're going to get, they are free. You can unfollow or unsubscribe at any time. It's not going to cost you a thing, but you're going to get a lot out of it. Information about how to grow your podcast, get people interested, make more money with your podcast. That's at bigpodcast.com/subscribe. I will see you there, and I will see you here on the next episode of Build a Big Podcast.